Welcome to It Takes Two. I'm Blair.
I'm Chris.
And today we'll be talking about Love and Marriage Detroit Season 2 Reunion Part 1.
It's time. It's time. You ready, Blair?
I'm ready.
Subscribe, like, share, comment, all the above. Let's get these pink slips out.
All right. So Dr. Latoya felt like a lot of things recorded were not shown. There was a lot of focus on Christina and Brandon's relationship. And Christina was fine with how everything came out. Colby said, of course, because it's the Brandon and Christina show.
Yeah, you feel anything about that statement?
Yeah, I feel like they're hating.
Of course.
Yeah, because I think that each of them, specifically Latoya and Anthony, seemed like they wanted to be the star of the show. And Christina and Brandon are the headliners, the Mel and Martell of the show. And, you know, if certain things weren't shown, Latoya, then maybe they weren't interesting. I don't know what to say. You know?
Here's the thing, Dr. Latoya. Maybe we didn't get a lot of you and Anthony scenes because it's ghetto. Like, you're ghetto. Like, at the end of the day, Dr. Latoya, you come in with this rah talking about this happened, that happened, this happened, that happened, where you wasn't present. You're taking the word of your husband, where I hope you watch the season so you can actually see if he's an honest truth teller or he's lying basically to create a narrative. So this whole idea of even why you're even mad at Christina, we don't even understand the whole source of it. And we watched the first season, right? You basically mad at Christina because to support Colby, and that's fine, right? Now, Colby, what like of course, like, she wouldn't have no problem with it because it's the Christina and Brandon show. What did they show about Brandon and Christina outside of that they have a failing marriage?
Exactly.
Why would somebody want that, like, to be basically the plot of basically Love and Marriage Detroit? Right now, Colby, you had an opportunity to actually show your marriage in a good light, but you chose to complain about how much, you know, motherhood and things like that is weighing you down. And you have every right to complain about motherhood. I never bared a child. You get what I'm saying? But my whole thing is, hey, the time that was allotted for you to show your marriage or whatever scene, whatever story you want to show in the camera view, you chose not to. Instead, I saw you complaining about Christina and how she never take accountability. So I have no problem with how they showed the season because, truth be told, they need to scratch the show. There's no one story that needed to be shown that would have saved this season. You get what I'm saying? But let's keep going.
So we see the clip of Brandon throughout the season saying that he's only there because God says so in his relationship, him leaving the house, saying he wasn't prepared to be married, and then coming back. Christina said that Brandon was not a great communicator. He had said that he wanted a divorce multiple times, and she was tired of feeling disposable. So she put him out of the house. Brandon kept saying that he wanted a divorce because it felt like the marriage, the home, all of that was Christina's. He didn't have a voice in his life, essentially. He saw his parents get a divorce, and he always thought of it as an option.
Okay.
And Brandon said they both know that if they would have dated longer instead of getting married as quickly as they did, that they probably haven't gotten married. He doesn't regret being married, but that's just the reality that he knows.
Okay.
So Carlos asks if they're only married because of God and the kids, and Brandon tells him no, because he was willing to divorce the kids as well.
Well, okay.
He wouldn't put his happiness to the side just to live with his children. His pastor even gave him the green light for the divorce.
Yeah.
Now, the men were not feeling that.
Why not?
Marcel said, you have to take control of your house. Like, what kind of pastor is going to tell you to leave your wife and children? And Christina explained it that Brandon had brought up the divorce so many times that the pastor was saying that if this is something you really want to do it so you can stop dangling this carrot in front of her. Yeah. And Russell said that the word says that if there's infidelity, that's pretty much the only thing that allows you to divorce your wife. Brandon and Christina both say that there were no infidelities in their marriage, but it was kind of hard for Christina to believe that when he kept throwing divorce in her face.
Yeah.
They both say currently they're doing good. They've grown a lot. And Brandon didn't realize that you had to choose love and then get the feelings back again.
So to Brandon and Christina's marriage, their marriage get a pink slip.
Okay.
Right? Y'all need to divorce, right? As someone who's not a counselor, a pastor, or anything, I'm just Chris on YouTube. Right. Here's the thing. Let me address the men in the room, right? Of course, y'all want to condemn the pastor of telling Brandon, hey, if you're going to divorce, basically, Ish'll get off the pot. That's basically what the pastor said.
Pretty much.
Right? But you don't want to condemn Brandon to the point of even bringing up divorce more than 5 times in the marriage. On the wedding day, he was actually complimenting one of the bridesmaids' booty. if y'all was with us during the first season and things like that, or even the first part of this season. So you can see how Brandon was willing to divorce the kids, right? You can see Brandon willing to not communicate, right? You can see Brandon willing to not take ownership of his life, of his marriage, of his kids, all these things that basically, as much as he wants to say that it's Christina's life, it's his life too. He was willing to walk away from it. You can see all the flaws of Brandon, but yet you're willing to basically say, Brandon, stick with it with Christina. And not even think about how Christina may be dealing with this whole idea of basically, hey, Blair, I want a divorce. And then Tuesday come, okay. Then Thursday come, I want a divorce. And then Friday come. And then next Monday come, I want a divorce, right? He's willing and doing it on purpose to dangle the carrot. And he's only doing it trying to get his way, right? He's not doing it in a way of, I want to correct what's wrong in my marriage. He's doing it in a temper tantrum way.
Yeah.
In a way of, I'm not getting my way. I'm not liking it. So guess what? You know what? Do you want to be by yourself? Do you want to be by yourself? Divorce. And you're willing to criticize the pastor as the men of the cast instead of actually criticizing the men that keep on wiggling divorce in front of the woman's face. Basically wiggling in front of her face, or dangling in front of her case rather, their stability, right? Dangling in front of their face the kids and things of that nature, not knowing the father. Brandon was doing that purposely. Like, he wasn't doing that as a cry for help. He was doing that knowing that, hey, when I leave, you have to take care of things on your own. And guess what? The one time that Christina actually said, get out the house then. Leave. Not divorce. Get out the house. And now the house get to function. Now some actually stability get to be made. Some new rules get to be made. And now all of a sudden he want to come back in the house. And we looking at the past as if he said something wrong. I would have told him to divorce her too. For her sake.
Yeah.
Not for him. What do you think, Blair?
Yeah, honestly, when it comes to their relationship, I mean, I always feel like when there's children involved, I feel like there should be an extra fight to keep the family together, not in an effort to stay together because of the kids, but to fight for your marriage, number one, for yourselves and for your vow to God, but also because if you can keep a stable, happy home for your children, then that's something you should do. Now, if you're in a toxic marriage to where somebody's getting kicked out, y'all arguing and all this type of stuff, and your kids have to see that is not a healthy relationship in order to stay together for your children. If y'all can't get on a good foot and figure out your stuff, then you absolutely need to separate and figure out how to do that co-parenting thing. But when it comes to the pastor's recommendation, I mean, how many times are we going to have the same conversation?
Facts.
You know, like, if there's a decision you want to make for your life, then make the decision. But if you're doing this, like Chris said, out of spite, out of trying to get your own way, out of being manipulative, then make that decision and live with it and see what it does for you. And as we saw, Brandon was at his mom's house and couldn't get his clothes washed.
Facts. You ain't wrong when you're right, Blair.
So when it comes to that, I do hope the best for their marriage and their relationship and for their family, because who wants to see a family break apart in that way? But Brandon absolutely has to step up and be a present person in the household. And if that means telling Christina that he thinks of something differently, don't be afraid to speak up. What is she going to do? Kick you in the knees?
No, she's not. Well, she might. I don't know.
Have a conversation with your wife. But I think that with Brandon, he doesn't want to have conversation.
No.
He doesn't want to have confrontation. He'd rather just sit back and be upset than actually try to work through things with his wife. Yeah. So it is what it is.
And truth be told, I understand what Marcel was trying to do there. Basically, like, I'm a man. I'm not going to let no one, I die before I let someone tell me to divorce my wife and things like that. But Marcel, you're not like Brandon.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with the past. It has everything to do with the components in the marriage. And in the marriage, I'm sure the pastor was telling, hey, you need to do this. You need to reconcile with your wife. You need to reconcile with your wife. How many, you're not going to have 10 meetings with me about the same thing.
Right.
I got to write this message, this sermon for Sunday. You know what I mean? Let's keep going.
So the question is asked, did they feel like Christina was putting on for the cameras? And Colby said that Brandon made some statements about them being good at pretending. Brandon, when we see the flashback, he was talking about how they were separated, but they're going to fake the funk when it comes to this dinner because everybody doesn't need to know their business.
Stop right there. So Colby, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Put on one for the camera. That whole flashback, I'm happy they showed the flashback. Pretending had nothing to do with them actually trying to show their life in a way that was completely opposite of their real life. What they was talking about is, listen here, they don't really know what's going on with us. Let's just put on a happy face, but I'm really unhappy. Yeah. So this is not that. But I see what you're trying to do, Colby. I will get to you by the end of this episode.
Christina tells them that she wouldn't put her children through this for clicks and views.
Yeah.
Anthony doesn't think Brandon would do that, and he doesn't want to, show their bad times all the time. Kim doesn't know if they may have put on extra for the cameras, but Kim says that she does put a little extra on for the cameras because they're here to entertain. But Christina's extra anyway. Christina is allowing God to use her to show people that you can get to the other side. When it comes to that statement, Christina, I don't really know if y'all are on the other side.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a matter of whether or not you guys are faking or not, but I do think it is that even if you guys are still going through something, you want to wrap a nice bow at the end of the season.
Yeah.
In order for us to come back next season and y'all still got some issues in your marriage, which people have issues in their marriage. People have some of the same issues. People have different issues. And I just feel like with Christina and Brandon, I just don't think their relationship is very strong.
And guess what? Some people have an issue in their marriage.
Yeah.
And an issue is a person. You get what I'm saying? You almost made me forget. Kimberly, I gave you about 2 of these already. Here's your third one. Hopefully you do stay away, right?
Okay.
The fact that you even said out your mouth verbatim that, yes, you put on for the camera and things of that nature to entertain, you have not entertained us not one bit anytime you was on the camera. So
I think that when she was saying she was throwing the clothes at the dinner, I think that was the entertaining part.
No,
but
it wasn't.
It was just weird.
It was ghetto. You know what I'm saying? So basically, were you that mad at Christina? So now I need to ask the cast: are y'all really mad at Christina, or do y'all really want to be secretly friends with Christina? Because it comes off as if y'all jealous of this girl who basically it's the Christina show. What, the Christina getting a divorce? The Christina don't have a supportive husband. The Christina got to teach her husband to basically pick up his clothes and basically communicate. That's not like I don't understand. That's nothing to really brag about, So this whole idea that they believe that Christina is putting on for the camera, I just think they just jealous because they did not get enough camera time, right? And this whole idea, like, of course we put on for the camera, that's Kimberly said. Kimberly, we saw you put on when they was confronting Christina about her brand manager or whatever manager, but then secretly when you had the one-on-one time with Christina, you were like, you know what, I actually don't agree with what they said. I don't think she's ghetto at all. I think her name was Chelsea.
Yeah.
Chelsea. I don't think Chelsea is ghetto. I seen her work. She does good work. But you didn't say that in front of the group.
Yeah.
So if there's anything that you're putting on as if you are really siding with these women, Latoya and Colby and things of that nature, but really you want to be buddies with Christina.
Yeah, you miss her.
You miss her. Give her a hug.
And it's okay to miss her.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let's keep
so
going.
Latoya didn't want Anthony to talk to Christina one-on-one because she doesn't like when people throw shots at Anthony when he's trying to be genuine. Brandon says anything that he's thrown at Anthony is pretty much in retaliation to something that Anthony has said to him.
Facts.
Latoya was offended by Brandon taking shots at her company. Brandon tries to explain, well, it's because he was trying to talk about how much did I invest in my wife versus what he invested in his wife. And Latoya was just like, I just don't like catching strays when you guys have conversations. Well, then tell your husband to stop bringing you up in arguments.
What show is she watching?
How about that?
What show is Dr. Latoya watching?
I don't think she's watching the show. She's just listening to Anthony. That's all.
Because I'm like, no one is going at Anthony. As Brandon said, it's guess what? I'm throwing it right back to him. That's all I'm doing. I'm responding. I'm not being proactive with my insults to Anthony and things like that. He's the one that's saying that I'm the child. He's the one that's talking about I'm a
D-rider
and things of that nature. You like, I ain't put hands on him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But all the time you over here talking about, I just don't like when people talk about my husband when he's trying to come off genuine. When does he come off genuine? That's a real good question.
That is
right
a
there.
good question.
When has Anthony ever come off genuine and things like that? The only time he came off genuine is when y'all was on that boat and he started crying, talking about I wanted to live in Atlanta and you wouldn't let me.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's really the only time and that's the only time that I really respected him since.
Yeah.
To be honest and things like that. When would it be about me? When would it be about me? And I'm like, as a man, I can relate to that, right? Not relate to it in a sense of like somebody is doing something to me to where like it's never about me. But I'm like, I know men who suppress their feelings for the benefit of the family, right? But everything else with the whole trying to be flashy, trying to be the leader when you're not the leader, everybody's a D-rider and things of that nature. Anthony do not need to be coddled or basically need to be defended in this scene right here. Dr. Latoya, you need to watch the show. so you can actually see what your husband be doing behind the back.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
So we see the package of Bravo and Keita with her concerns for his safety.
Yeah.
In the nightlife, he has to separate his life from the work that he does. He said that he wasn't hiding his wife from the world. He was hiding the world from his wife.
That's not funny.
Keita cries because she wouldn't want her kids to grow up without their father the way that she had to. But the show allowed him to grow in hearing her needs in the relationship and trying to be better at meeting those needs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have much to say about that. I mean, I'm glad you listen to your wife now. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, here's the thing, Keita. I need you to be a little bit more honest too, Keita. It's not only about the sharing locations because of what happened to your father. I understand that. Bravo is part of the nightlife, right? And you just want to make sure that, hey, that your husband is staying faithful in the marriage. Just say that. You get what I'm saying? You have no evidence or anything like that to say that he's not, but I'm sure it's just not motivated just by, hey, I need to know where you are 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, things like that. I just need to know who you're with too, right? Because Bravo, you cannot not share your location while at the same time be upset or be ignored when she asks you where you at. You get what I'm saying? It's like,
and the club's closed.
Like why are you secretive for? You get what I'm saying? So you got to give a little something. So, but hopefully they work it out.
Yeah. Apparently they said they're sharing their location. So, you know.
Yeah.
Colby delivered her baby.
Nice.
She was upset with having another girl because she wanted to be done with having children. She says it's not really because it was a girl. She just wanted to have her boy, have her 2 kids, and be finished with bearing children. Okay. Pregnancy is a lot on the body, and she didn't know if she wanted to go through it again. Yeah. Russell says that when he made his comment about her having another baby, getting pregnant in 6 months, he wasn't considering the process of the baby growing in her body. Facts. He says that it was an idiot comment and she could heal her body, take as long as she needs. So she is trying to enforce some respect with her daughter and would like Russell to enforce it as well. Russell says that when he gets upset, he doesn't have an off button or a soft button. So he doesn't want to get upset with her and do something that ends up causing trauma to their daughter or saying something that'll cause trauma. And Colby says that, you know, he says that does get in the way of him being a disciplinarian.
Let's start right here for a second. Sure. Right? Kolby did make a funny, well, it's not funny, but she did make a light statement saying, well, if you go give me as much time as needed, I'm going to take 10 years, right? Yeah. And he was like, well, we ain't going to do 10 years. You know, matter of fact, I'm going to be quiet right now, right? I don't know if you said it. I think you said it in one of our deep dives. But I think someone in the comments basically reiterated what Russell said here, why he may not want to be a disciplinarian, because he may go too far, right? He don't want to cause trauma in a way to where he don't have an off button, to where he basically have to be overly nice or overly gentle, because if he wanted to be a disciplinarian, he don't want to go too far to cause any type of trauma. That's not a good enough excuse for me, right? Disciplining doesn't always have to do with hitting. It doesn't have to do with anything physical. Also, he did not allude to that. I just want to give him bail out of jail for that, right? But it doesn't have to, like, your whole life is discipline, right? So the thing about it is, I don't even think she is, quote unquote, asking, even though Colby did not say these words, but let me allow myself to put words in Colby's mouth. I don't think Colby is so much asking for you to reprimand her for when she don't do it. Basically, can you just reinforce the structure that I'm trying to do? And Russell, you have structure in your life. You're in the military. You're a business owner. You're in ministry, so you have evidence of structure in your life. All I'm asking is that when you come home, that it's not fun time. That you're not only fun time. Can you reinforce whatever I put down as a rule, or can you echo, hey, I'm trying to potty train. Can you make sure that when she doesn't do it, there is some type of conversation, there's some type of, hey, we are doing this, we are doing that. Not so much of where, oh, I don't want to be the disciplinarian because I don't want to trigger her. What is your definition of being being a disciplinarian? Because there are different types of disciplinarian. There are some that believe in the belt, spare the rod, and things like that. I don't believe in hitting kids anymore. Even though I did get whipped and things like that, I don't think I will whip my kids and things like that. But that doesn't mean that I won't be a disciplinarian. There's different ways that you could discipline your kid.
Yeah. I guess for me with Colby, I understood her perspective of just wanting to be two and done. And her husband wants a son. She wants to give her husband a son. And that's something that they're going to have to find a way to get on the same page about, which I think is going to be hard because it means we either have a boy or we don't.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to the whole disciplinarian conversation, I think that with Russell, I feel like you don't know how to do it until you do it.
Yeah.
The same way you didn't know how to be a husband until you were a husband. You're probably still trying to figure it out. You didn't know how to be a business owner until you jumped in. So as a parent and trying to discipline your child, you have to try it and just see how you can toe the line of being a disciplinarian without being overbearing.
Yeah.
You know, and also I think it helps for parents, which I'm not a parent, but just in my opinion, I think it helps not to be angry when you discipline. If you're really upset, take a walk. Get the anger up off you.
I don't know about that.
You know what I'm saying? But come back to discipline your kid and talk to them when you're able to have a conversation or when you're able to discipline. So I think that, I guess I say for him to take a walk, because if he's going to be yelling and all that type of stuff because he's upset, then maybe you need a minute to chill out before you can actually discipline in a healthy way. You know? And so I'm just like, just try it. Work it out, work out the kinks, and if you traumatize her, go see a therapist. I don't know what to say. Like, you got to discipline your child.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna buy his excuse, even though he said he did not hear his daughter say that she's mad at mommy and things like that. He said he didn't hear it. He was just focused on something else. Well, you repeated what she said. You get what I'm saying? So nobody's not telling you to say no. Don't say that about mommy. You get what I'm saying? Just be like, no. Tell mommy sorry. That's not nice. Yeah, that's a disciplinarian right there.
It is.
Boom. Tell mommy you're sorry. That's not nice. Mommy do a lot for us. You get what I'm saying? So, like, you can't use that excuse. And also another thing to add to Blair thing as well, because angry or not, you could be angry. It's okay to be angry, right? If you don't know how to do something, as Blair just talking about all these things, you did not know how to be a father, you did not know how to be a husband, you didn't know how to be a business owner, but you jumped in. You know what that leaves room for when, like, you don't know how to do things, Blair? Apologies. Yeah. If you go too far in one instance where you're talking to your kid, or you went too far in being angry and being a disciplinarian, guess what that opened the door to? Your daddy sorry. That's how you actually undo whatever triggers or trauma that you may actually, that you fear that you go put on your kid.
And to me, that's also a teaching lesson for your kids to learn how to take accountability when they do something wrong. If mom and dad can apologize, then for sure the child can learn how to apologize.
Exactly. Daddy didn't mean to power drive you. He did not mean to.
So Colby said that everyone reached out to her regarding the baby except for Christina. Christina tries to say that she didn't know about the baby. Colby didn't send her any pictures that the baby was born. And Kim was like, she didn't send me any pictures, but I knew her due date. And so I reached out around the time just to ask if the baby was there so I can congratulate her.
Nice.
Latoya feels like Christina should have just said congratulations. She's not taking accountability, and she's not saying she's sorry. Like, she was wrong for not reaching out. And Christina, there was like a little back and forth where I believe Christina said something along the lines of, okay, like, I didn't reach out because I didn't want to. So it's just like, so why are we going around the mulberry bush,
exactly.
Christina? Like, then why are we doing that?
Christina, I gotta yell at you now, because you know you and Colby is not on good terms, and you got the right to say I didn't want to reach out because me and Colby is not on good terms.
Yeah, nobody's going to hit you for that.
But they will.
Okay.
Because you heard what Dr. Latoya tried to do. Dr. Latoya tried to do she tried to do a PSA right here. Basically saying, you know how it is with black mothers having babies, and basically the rate of how things happen and things like that. You know, it's a very dangerous time, and the fact that you didn't even reach out to her, how dare you? I'm like, don't mix the facts. Don't mix the thing. Because this is what I don't understand. How can you throw a staycation to where you actually celebrating Colby's baby and things like that, basically a baby shower? I think it's called a sprinkle or like whatever, but then don't congratulate her for the baby.
Yeah. Because that's what gives fake. Like, so you want to throw me a sprinkle, but when the baby gets here, you can't be bothered to reach out.
And then you over here talking about, well, she ain't post nothing. I'm not on Instagram. I didn't see no pictures. Just say just say the real.
Yeah, you didn't want to.
I didn't want to because I feel like the last conversation me and Colby had, Colby was yelling at me, talking about I don't take accountability for anything, and I'm not rocking with Colby right now. And that would have been more respectable and things like that. Besides the whole I didn't know thing, the whole I didn't know thing come off as if you're being phony, as if you're just being like weird. You get what I'm saying? What is your thoughts?
I I thought it could have been a part 1.
Oh, wow.
I felt like we could have wrapped this thing up in 60 minutes, but we will be here for part 2.
We will be here for part 2. I hope there's no part 3.
Me too.
I hope there's no part 3. Let us know what y'all thought about this episode, what y'all thought about. Truth be told, this reunion was better than the season, and I'm not even saying that this reunion was good. I'm just telling you how the season was. You know what I mean? But let us know what y'all thought about this episode. Subscribe, like, share, comment, all the above. We see y'all.
Bye.